All right, so today what I wanted to do was reflect a little bit on my year of YouTube, as it were. And what I really wanted to focus on was how well I did this year at sticking to my reading goals, which were quite lofty, included a lot of series and just overall a lot of books. So let's reminisce for a second, shall we, on my plans at the beginning of the year, February of 2023. These are all the things that I plan on at least reading throughout the year. Here's the thing. At this point, this was a great plan, right? Read a bunch of books, finish a bunch of series, maybe read some new stuff. Plans don't always go to plan. So, did 2023 Alex ever actually finish The Dark Tower? Not included in this video, but was in the original video, was my lofty goal of reading all of Tolkien and consuming Middle-earth. That didn't happen. Next up, I'm not going to hold these up because all the books are over there on my sci-fi shelf. You can't see that because it's zoomed in on me. This is where the focus is. I'm pointing at The Expanse. Ah, yes, The Expanse. Of course. I must have finished that, right? I loved the first couple of books that I read. I believe I read 4 of them. I own all of them. I had to have gotten to that. Robin Hobb, Realm of the Elderlings, Ship of Magic. I really enjoyed that book. I must have continued Realm of the Elderlings. Listen, what happened was, Republic of Thieves, you had to have finished that. No. I mean, surely you read Lonesome Crown. Brian Lee Durfee, Book 3, the long-awaited conclusion to the trilogy? What about restarting Malazan with Gardens of the Moon because you read it so long ago that you forgot it, and then reading all of Malazan? I mean, everyone talks about how great Steven Erikson is. You had to have done that. No chance. I mean, you really liked First Law. You hyped it up so much. You have all the books. You had to have read First Law. Nope. Okay, this one's an easy one, right? The Cuckoo, Book 3 of Under the Northern Sky. The books that you were reading with Leanna and others as a buddy read that Jimmy and Alan bailed on, but you had to have at least finished Book 3, right? Listen, I don't know if I like your tone. This feels very accusatory, and I'm not appreciating this. Okay. So to this point, it seems I have not stuck to my 2023 reading goals. There's one last glimmer of hope, folks. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, whoever the fuck watches my channel. Red Rising reread in anticipation of Lightbringer. Did I do that at least? We found a winner, ladies and gentlemen. The Red Rising reread. I read all of them, and then Lightbringer. So let's talk about that and some thoughts on what I actually did end up reading in 2023, which is wildly different from any of my plans outside of Red Rising. So yeah, Red Rising by Pierce Brown. I reread the entire series, did not record new reviews for those because I already have reviews for every single one of them up through Dark Age in anticipation of Lightbringer coming out. What I do have, though, is many hours of live chat discussions with Leanna and Angela. Links down below for their channels, except for Lightbringer, because while Angela and I read it and loved it, and I do have a review for it on my channel, Leanna, book reader of 1 million books a year, somehow has not read it. How have you not read it? Tress of the Emerald Sea. I read that book. In the Year of Sanderson, All the Secret Projects. As I point to books that you probably can't see anyway. Let me go get it. Tress of the Emerald Sea. I have a review for this book on my channel. It was great. I liked it a lot. It was a lot of fun. It was whimsical. Totally different than what I expected it to be and what I expect from Sanderson. I still haven't read any of the other books of the Secret Projects. I have them all. They're all gorgeous. I absolutely love the look of all these books. I've heard mixed things about most of them. I think in general, they're overall good. I don't know. We'll see. But I did enjoy Tress. Check out that review down below. I didn't commit fully to Tolkien, but I did read The Two Towers, part 2 of Lord of the Rings, book 2, whatever you want to call it. Is it 1 book? Is it 3 books? Who knows? Two Towers is great, though. Of course, I have read all 3 books. I've read Fellowship, Two Towers, and Return of the King before, long time ago. So this is a reread, but I've forgotten a lot of the actual book parts of it. I'm so familiar with the movies now that that's kind of where my mind goes at all times when I think Lord of the Rings, because I've watched them 155 times. I don't know if that number's accurate, but doesn't matter. This is the internet. You can just stretch the truth whenever you want. Two Towers is great, though. It is interesting seeing the differences between the films and the books because, again, I'm so used to the films that I forget what actually happens in the books. Oh my God, Tolkien, stop writing songs, please, because you don't need that many songs, bro. You just don't. But overall, I mean, characters are great, story's great. It's Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is awesome. And I'm not committing to it right now, but I do want to read more Middle-earth. I also read Sealed Empire by Norbert. I'm not going to pronounce her last name because I'll do it quite wrong, but there it is. This was a self-published book that was sent to me initially as an ebook. I did get the hardcover sent to me as hardcover. I'm an idiot. The paperback sent to me as well by the author. Much appreciated. I overall liked it a good bit. There's some cool twists and turns, and just the concept of it is really interesting. I kind of lost interest for a good chunk of the middle portion of this because it's a sci-fi blend with medieval fantasy, and the medieval fantasy portions of it were probably the most boring for me. And I felt there were certain things that happened that were totally unnecessary. There's choices made for villains that, like, I get it, they're evil, but like there's other ways of being evil. Basically, this book is of two minds. The entire medieval portion of it, and I don't want to spoil anything in case you do read it. There's a few reviews on Goodreads and YouTube about it. It's definitely worth checking out. The medieval portions of it, I felt were just not that interesting, while the sci-fi aspects of it and the way that that was blended together were by far the most interesting. So I would hope for more time spent in that part of this story as opposed to the medieval fantasy, mustache twirling, I'm evil villain guy, because that's just not as interesting. But definitely check this out if you want some sci-fi blend with medieval fantasy. And of course, you know, see Leviathans that look like Transformers on the cover are always a good thing. Next up was I, Robot. I do not care for this book. I understand it's multiple short stories. I think classic sci-fi is just very boring to me, and I don't connect to it. At least for this one. There is some that I absolutely adore. This was just a total miss for me. I could not care less. Sci-fi that I did enjoy, though, of course, popcorn sci-fi, popcorn fantasy movie, whatever you want to call it. Jurassic Park. This shit slaps. Do kids still talk like that these days? I don't know. But Jurassic Park is great. It's an awesome thriller. I really love Crichton's writing. The way that he constructs a story is just always interesting and engaging. And of course, I grew up with Jurassic Park like most of you watching from the movies. I had never read the book before. It was great. I almost like it more than the movie. I'd have to go back and watch again, but honestly, there's a lot in here that's not in the movies. There's a lot in here that's really graphic and dark and awesome. And it's just really well done. And of course, it reads sort of like a movie or a screenplay. It's thrilling. Even the downtimes are pretty interesting and intriguing. And of course, there are some awesome dinosaur related murders here that are just fantastic to read about because these people had it coming to them. You can't control dinosaurs. Where's Aragon? And the last thing so far that I've read this year, I don't know if I'll finish anything else by the end of 2023, Aragon and Eldest, which you'll see a review for Eldest up next week. I have loved rereading these so far. I have some gripes about Eldest that I don't remember caring about the first time around, but Aragon was great. It's exactly what it needs to be for a sort of introductory epic fantasy. Yeah, it's mostly geared toward a younger audience. Of course, Paolini being the age that he was at the time of writing kind of makes sense. He was dipping his toes into epic fantasy as a teenager. His, inspirations are right up front, wears them on his sleeve. I don't think he's shy about his inspirations or things that he takes from other fantasy tales or sci-fi tales or traditional storytelling. That's fine. It's really well done. I think it's interesting. I think Galbatorix as a villain is interesting. Aragon as a character becomes rather interesting. I love dragons, so anything with a sort of mind meld with a dragon as essentially a ranger character is just the coolest shit to me. Whenever I play fantasy games, D&D, you name it, ranger, bow and arrow, dragons, that's my shit. And Aragon is awesome. There's a good amount of pretty solid action in this and storytelling. Some of the characters, not the greatest. A lot of them are kind of just cardboard cutouts of generic fantasy characters, but if I remember correctly, he expands on that and grows significantly over the next couple of books, and you can already tell in Eldest that his writing style and craft has increased and gotten better. Just overall, it was a lot of fun, and it's nice to read a nice fantasy story that's not 900 pages long. So one thing I will commit to right now for 2024 is finishing the damn Inheritance cycle, because I never actually finished it the first time around, and now there's a new book, Murtag, however you want to pronounce it, and I will at least get through those. Damn it. That's my one promise for 2024, is I will finish the Inheritance cycle. I hope this doesn't come back to bite me in the ass when I review 2024. But that is everything that I have read and committed to and then failed to follow through on in the year 2023. Let me know in the comments down below some of your favorite 2023 reads. If you stuck to your reading goals, I did not at all. It's okay. It's okay. I'm still reading, and Baldur's Gate 3 consumed my life upon arrival. So that's what I've been doing most of this year. Till next year.